We'd received news that ships full of redcoats were working their way around the island, searching every nook and cranny. We'd already spent one night in the cave, the two O's as Charlie called them, us, Leon, Colin and the Prince. Someone's betrayed us. They know we're on the island, snarled Colonel O'Sullivan. He glared at me, then turned his attention to the other Flora. Your mother said you were the clever one, Miss MacDonald, so what must we do? His tone suggested he doubted Flora's brain power. Perhaps it is best to remain here, began Flora, but O'Sullivan shook his head. The Bonnie Prince raised a hand. I liked him. He was that sort of person, always polite, always keen to hear what others thought. Let Mistress Flora speak, said the Bonnie Prince. Well, continued Flora, the cave is a fine hiding place. Perhaps you should spend every night there to be safe. The redcoats will tire of looking eventually. But what if they torture you? O'Sullivan was leaning forward, pointing at Flora. No woman can resist torture. Oh, come, Colonel O'Sullivan interrupted the Bonnie Prince. Silence fell. I waited, looking intently at Flora, waiting for her to come up with one of the most famous escape plans in all history. Why don't we sail for Skye, suggested Colin. Pah, barked O'Sullivan. We'd never make it. They'd send us to the bottom or capture us. Then it would be London and off with our heads. No, thank you. Flora was studying the back of her hand. I think Mistress Flora has the only idea of any use then, said the Bonnie Prince. We stay on here. But, I began. Everyone looked round at me. Mistress Flora, what about dressing him up? I broke off. The Bonnie Prince smiled at me. Don't be shy, good lassie. I felt my cheeks going red. Perhaps I could speak with Mistress Flora for a moment? The Bonnie Prince nodded and Flora followed me outside. I blinked at the brightness. I could hear the growl of O'Sullivan's voice inside. Yes, my darling Flo? That's what she called me sometimes. What about your idea, I asked. What idea? You know, the one about disguising the prince as a woman, as your servant. Then you travel with him, over the sea, to Skye. You're a strange one. Flora MacDonald studied me, then looked beyond, down the glen to the sea. Dress the prince as a woman. Huh, imagine that. She held her hand out and I took it. How's that my idea? I took a deep breath. Because it's what you'll go down in history for. People will be reading about you hundreds of years from now. Is that so? I nodded. You have the sight, she said quietly. I have only heard it spoken of until now. Perhaps you are a fairy. A smile traced its way across her face. With your red hair and pale face and pointy nose, you look like one of the fairy folk. My very own fairy Flo. She hugged me and whispered in my ear. I have a sense too, and my sense is you've been sent to save us. I know not where you come from, or who you really are, but I know why you're here. She let go of me and turned to go in. You coming, my fairy? I shook my head. I'll just stay here. The murmur of voices within mixed with the cry of the gulls down on the beach. It was warm in the sun. I walked a little way down the path. The grass grew long on either side, and I trailed my hand through it. I closed my eyes as I walked. Sometimes it's good to trust your instincts. I felt the grass brush my fingers, the stones beneath my feet. But the warmth of the sun faded as I opened my eyes. A ship, no, 2 ships, 3, sails being hauled down, Union Jacks flapping in the wind. boats being lowered over the side, boats full of redcoats. I turned and ran for the croft.